Talk amongst yourselves.
Well, good morning, everyone. This is Classic American Animation.
Yeah!
Bob Bergen.
I'm lovely. And you are?
I am your humble moderator, Joe Shirley. I'll let you guys talk amongst yourselves.
Well, first of all, there's a mic for questions out there somewhere?
There was.
There was.
They moved
Oh,
it.
it was?
It's right there.
Okay. Do you not want to put it in the middle so they can walk up and up?
Walk around to them if they have a question.
All right. So basically, we're here for you for 1 hour to talk about anything you want to regarding animation, voices, and fun stuff like that there. So, do you guys want to talk amongst us, or should we just open up the questions?
You know, I want to ask Samantha, because I was such a Jim fan. Tell me about that process. How'd you book it?
It was one of, oh my God, 5,000 auditions that I went on living in Los Angeles as a young woman and pursuing my dreams, and got a call from my agent actually I was signed to an agency, and my agent that I was with when I got GEM started her own agency and opened a voiceover department, and I'd never auditioned for a voiceover before. Lots of on-camera stuff. It was like your McDonald's counter girl, you know, auditioning for soaps and all kinds of things. And I left and went with my agent, and GEM was one of the first things I ever auditioned for. Showed up at Wally Burr Studios in Bergen.
No, Hollywood Way.
Hollywood Way.
Wally Burr.
Yes.
Yeah, wow.
Exactly.
Was that deep?
No, it wasn't Deke. That was Sunbound.
Oh my God.
Yeah, right?
G.I. Joe.
G.I. Joe, Transformers, Gen. In fact, they used to do the Transformers sessions because Wally Burr directed, and Wally Burr directed Gem. So, and that's actually how I got on Transformers as well, because we would jump ship. You know, like we need a pink robot named Ariel. We're scheduling you, and I come in, and I didn't get to record ensemble for Transformers, not like we did with Gem, but yeah, I auditioned for Gem, and I auditioned for probably some of the other extraneous characters as well, and some of the holograms, and I think maybe some of the Misfits. And then I went to Colorado for a week, and this was before cell phones, and I booked the job, and I remember my agent was like frantically trying to get a hold of me, like, you're Gem, you have to come back. So that's how it all started.
Wow.
Yeah.
And what a legacy.
Yeah, it is crazy. It's just never gone away. There's a huge rabid fan base, and now there's a feature film in theaters right now. Yeah, and I'm in the movie. They wrote me a cameo, and as a shout out to the original fans. And Christy Marks, who created Gem, she has an awesome cameo. It makes me laugh every time I see it. And Britta Phillips, who did the singing for Gem, also has a cameo in the movie. And they did a great job. I loved it. I loved the music. I think the girls are fantastic. And Juliette Lewis is awesome. Miss Erica Raymond, troublemaker, and Molly Ringwald, and it's great. I hope you guys go see it.
I remember when I was a young actor, starting out, my first big gig was at General Hospital.
Nice.
And I was recurring so I didn't have my own dressing room. I had to like share a dressing room with whoever wasn't there. And there was a little girl around my age who she wasn't working that day, so I got her dressing room, and I loved it because she always had Gem dolls
Oh my
in
God.
her dressing
So
room.
how old were you when you were doing
I was
Gem?
12.
You were 12. You were just a little man.
Man,
Oh my
still a little
gosh. Younger man, yeah.
Weren't you supposed to grow up to look like Billy Crystal? When are you going to start looking like Billy Crystal?
That's what he thought.
That's right.
Uh,
He was in Mr. Saturday Night, played young Billy Crystal.
big set Mr. Saturday Night fans here, right?
It's actually one of my favorite movies.
It's good. You can see a 16-year-old Jason Marsden. Actually, the way they shoot movies, you can see a 16 and a 17-year-old Jason Marsden, depending on the scene that you watch. Speaking, classic animation. Bob here, I don't know if you know, is the voice of Porky Pig. You can't get more classic.
Yeah.
And Porky Pig was originally voiced by Mel Blanc. You guys know? You know who Mel Blanc is? Does anyone here know who Mel Blanc is? Raise your hand, Mel Blanc. Those of you who don't know, Mel Blanc was the voice of Porky and Bugs and Daffy and Foghorn Leghorn and all of these characters. Why? Why was he so good at that? Because he did all the voices. He was also a really good actor. And it was so good that when he passed away, it took several people to kind of inhabit his roles. And you landed one of the Peachy ones. How did you tell me about that process?
Oh my goodness. Well, first of all, Mel Blanc he's called the man of a thousand voices. He's really the man of a thousand characters. Because a lot of his voices were the same for each. I mean, Daffy Duck and Sylvester were the exact same voice, but Daffy Duck was sped up electronically. That was the only difference.
But there was also the personality was different. Like I could tell, I could like close my eyes.
If you take Duck and Luck and slow it down, you're hearing a Sylvester performance.
Wow.
They both said Suffer and Succotash. They're identical voices
How did they get away with that?
because they sped one up. And by doing that, it sounded totally different.
No one ever said, "Hey Mel, can you try something different with the cat?"
No. I mean, Mel Blanc was not the original voice of Porky Pig. A guy named George Doherty was. And he had a real stutter. And this was, I mean, there was no tape back then. Everything was recorded on film. And these 7-minute shorts were coming in at 8-9 minutes, so they sped his voice up to make them tighter. And Jack Warner, the head of Warner Brothers, was getting all the bills for all this film stock. And he said, "Guys, why are we spending so much money on film for these cartoons?" And they said, "Because the pig stutters." And he said, "Get another pig." So Mel Blanc had been trying to get a job at Warner Brothers for a year, knocked on doors, and they said, "We don't need any voices." Knocked on doors, "We don't need any voices." And the guy who was the head of casting for a year kept turning him away. Finally, the guy died. The casting guy died.
See, if you waited out long enough.
And the guy that took his place was a man named Treg Brown, and Mel Blanc knocked on the door and he said, can I just audition for you? And they said, "Yeah, we've got a cartoon. Actually, we need the voice of a drunken bull," which was in Doherty's very last Porky Pig cartoon. Because after that, they went, "Hey, this Mel Blanc guy's kind of good. Can you do your version of Porky Pig?" He said, "Sure." So he took over for Porky Pig. They kept speeding his voice up to try to keep, to match as close as possible. And they realized by speeding up the voices, they could get a different tone from him. So Porky was sped up. Tweety was very sped up. So Speedy Gonzales was sped up. Yosemite Sam was not sped up. Foghorn Leghorn was not sped up. Bugs Bunny was not sped up. So when I was auditioning for these characters, I would say to them, it was Andrea Romano, who was the casting director. And I would say, are you going to speed these up? And they're like, what do you mean? Because they didn't really know.
They didn't even know.
They didn't really know. There was a whole new generation of people producing these cartoons. So I wanted to be Porky Pig since I was 5 years old. I know, it doesn't please a Jewish mother when you say I want to be
But now it definitely does.
Oh, now she's okay with it. Yeah. We moved to LA when I was 14, and I picked up the phone and I called Mel Blanc. And
Really?
Yeah.
I did not know.
Yeah.
Did you just go through the phone book, or did you?
Kind of. I went through the phone book.
That's incredible.
I went through the phone book and couldn't find them. And I didn't understand the concept of unlisted phone numbers. Because we were from Cincinnati at the time. We moved from Cincinnati to LA. And my dad said, LA's bigger than Cincinnati. So he drove from like Malibu to Pasadena. And he got every white page phone book. And I had a stack of white page phone books. And I called every blank in the book.
This is
Hi,
before Google.
Oh,
children.
please. I was like, "Hi, is this Mel Blanc, the cartoon guy?" "No." "Okay, never mind, bye." "Hi, is this Mel Blanc, the cartoon guy?" "Okay, never mind, bye." And I couldn't find him. And then
You're 14.
I was 14, yeah. And then I decided to call to look under his wife's name, which was Estelle. And I found E. Blanc in the Pacific Palisades, and that was his house. And I taped the conversation. Go to my website. There's a page called Cool Clips. You can hear it. It's completely illegal. Don't bug conversations. Richard Nixon got in trouble for this.
Yeah.
And during the course of the conversation, he mentioned the name of the studio he was working at that week. He didn't say the time of the day, but the name. And so after I was done with him, I called the studio.
No, hold on a second. You call. Does he answer the phone?
Well, his wife answered the phone. His wife answered the phone, and I said, "Is he there?" "No, he's working. When will he be back?" And she said, "Sometime this afternoon after 4. This is like 10 in the morning. 10:05 I called back. At 10:10 I called back. I thought maybe he gets off early,
Yeah.
And it finally 4 o'clock. Yes, he wanted Mel, it's him. And I called, after I finished with him, I called the studio who was working it that week, pretending to be his assistant. And I said, yeah, well, or stalker, I'm not sure. And I said, hi, I'm calling to confirm Mr. Blank's appointment for this Thursday at 9. And they said, we have him on the books for Wednesday at 11. I went, oh, you know, you're right, I'm looking at the wrong day in the calendar, sorry. It wasn't exactly Wednesday, but I will be there. And I told my mom, I'm skipping school on Wednesday, we're gonna watch Mel Blanc work. And she said, cool. So when we got to the studio, I told the receptionist that we were guests of Mel Blanc, and she said, he's in that studio over there. And when we walked into his booth, I told his producer that we were guests of the receptionist, and they said, have a seat. And we were, wow. The secret to getting in this business is stalking. And talking, but stalking.
Didn't you like made your way into the White House for some fabulous event?
I actually did go to the
Stalking
White House.
abilities.
I didn't stalk my way in, but I got to go to a reception at the White House. They were honoring cartoon people.
Oh my gosh, that is brilliant.
Was there a friendship that was made?
No.
No?
Not at all. Not at all. I mean, to watch him work, he comes from radio, so he dressed for the voiceover, a double-breasted suit, tie, flower, lapel, and he had a cigarette and he had oxygen. And he'd take a puff of cigarette, a puff of oxygen, and do the lines. And filling the place with smoke. And his doctor had told him that if he does this, he'll keep blow himself up. So he gave up the oxygen towards the end of his life because he was like, oh, I'm gonna give up this. And I went up to meet him and I shook his hand and I met him one other time about 6 months before he died. He was signing his autobiography. I was with Bill Farmer and I went to Samuel French and got his autobiography signed, and then he passed away, and one of us held auditions, and we had the same agent at the time. Were you with Arlen at the time? Yeah, with Arlen, and a dozen or so callbacks later.
Amazing. Wow, you can't get closer to classic animation conversation than that.
I just noticed the ring. I just noticed the spider ring. That's too cool.
It's my son's, and when I was leaving the house yesterday, he actually saw. He's like out the window. He's like, "Bye, Dad. Hey, that's my ring." I'm like, I know. I'll bring it back. He's like, well, it's okay. I have another one. I have that one too.
Oh, okay.
I lost it. It was attached to this. He's gonna ask me about it.
How old is your son?
He's 5.5.
So that's 5-year-old Blank, right? Okay.
He'll be here later.
Bob, you mentioned Bill Farmer, which is a nice segue into this young man.
Yes, Bill Farmer. Anyone know who Bill Farmer is?
Yeah.
Who's Bill Farmer, Superman?
Dad.
He's my
Your dad. I like that. That's cool.
That's right. You've seen a Goofy movie?
Yeah.
That's my dad. You know, I'm his son Max. We went to the Powerline concert together. We did the perfect cast. Oh, yup. We did that. Yeah. Yes. That was fun. So I was a huge Disney nerd when I was a kid. So it was a thrill that I get to audition for these projects. And I had started out the first thing I did for Disney was Disney's Adventures of Gummy Bears. I was Cabin, the boy who was friends with Gummy Bears. And I only got that job because the original boy went through puberty. And I was still at that right age, and I could maintain the pitch. So I did that, and that was a dream. I got to work with. I mean, on that show was June Foray, Paul Winchell. We didn't record with us. He would come in afterwards.
But royalty.
Yeah, Paul Winchell was a Tigger, original voice of Tigger.
Yeah.
June Foray, the voice of every witch that you've heard, and who's 90 something and
98.
still works.
Just turned 98.
Yeah, Mark, if you were a job every now and then. So I was entranced, being in this Disney universe, and then I started doing promos for Disney Channel. I did the whole new Mickey Mouse Club launch with Justin Timberlake and Christina Aguilera, Britney Spears. Before they were anybody, I was like, hey, coming up next, it's this, it's in the, followed by that, only on the Mickey Mouse Club. And we're doing all this stuff, and every so often, Bill Farmer and Wayne Allwyn and Lucy Taylor, Mickey and Minnie respectively would come in, and I get to meet him, like, oh man, Mickey.
So you were doing the Disney promos before the Goofy movie?
Yes.
Okay.
And that's when I first met Bill.
Right.
And then they did a goof troop, which Max was voiced by lovely actress Dana Hill, who's no longer with us.
Yeah.
She was in Vacation, one of the Vacation movies.
That's right.
She had a lot of on camera, a lot of voiceover. Actually, lost a lot of jobs to her. She was that good. And you know, a lot of women in voiceover, you know, they get the leverage because they can, you know, you can do male voice, you get twice as many auditions. So they're doing a feature film, and you know, when they were transition from TV to feature, they want to change it up a little bit. So I think Katzenberg was still Disney at the time, and he wanted a real like teenager sound for Max. So I was one of the guys that read a few times and booked that. And now, you know, I was started as a fan, and I turned into Goofy's son.
And you guys wasn't there like a big anniversary recently?
Yeah, we celebrated
there
20
was.
years at the D23
They were on radio.
Convention. If you look online, there's a whole panel. It's a big reunion. It's me and Jim Cummings and Billy, and we got Tevin Campbell, who was the voice of Powerline.
Yeah.
He came out, did actual like concert for everybody.
wow.
People went nuts.
Isn't it time for another Goofy movie?
Yes.
Yes. I like that idea.
And your voice still hasn't changed.
No?
When puberty does hit, they'll have to replace you, but you know.
Hasn't hit yet. My wife keeps reminding me of that every day.
Aww.
When's that gonna happen?
We have that pair of us because I was the voice of Disney Channel for 5 years.
That's right.
Yeah. But after you. Did you start the channel?
No, I didn't start the channel. I just did the Mickey Mouse Club.
Okay.
Then they liked what I was doing, so it was kind of like the teenage afternoon sound. And then I
Okay.
did Toon Disney Channel for a while,
Right.
after Joe Lasky.
That's right. And I was doing Disney Channel proper.
Okay.
I was after Playhouse Disney, before Vault Disney. I was the daytime voice. And I remember when you came in to do Toon Disney because you worked with Steve Barton.
Yep.
With me
Yes.
over at Match Frame.
Yes. I love
And
Steve.
Joyce Castellanos. And
Yes.
that's a great talk amongst yourselves. We're having a reunion.
Does anyone have?
Yeah, guys, raise your hands, pass around the mic. We're here for you. Raise them high.
This is specifically a question for Mars. You live here in Nashville, correct?
Yes, I do. Recent transplant, love it here.
What is it like as a former major animation union voice actor living in a city like this where there really isn't any work? Are you transitioning out of that, or is this just a
By the way, that's what
respite?
puberty sounds like after it changes. That's the voice we want. If my voice changes, I want that voice.
I'll narrate your inner thoughts
There
for
you
you.
go.
So yeah, I guess that's my question is, you're still in the union, I believe, and so are you still doing work here for animation, or is that still all in LA and you just go back and forth?
Yes, I go. So, you know, as a voice actor, you can audition anywhere. All you need is a laptop and a mic. So I send my auditions from home, and if I only moved here 2 years ago, and like to ease the transition, you know, if I wasn't losing money, I would fly myself out to work, or I would ask nicely, like, look, can you book me in a studio locally? There's plenty of recording studios here in Nashville. I'll pay for the studio time. And it just depends on the job. Some jobs are like, no, you got to come to LA, and I have to make a choice. Or some are like, yeah, no worries, and they'll book a studio, and they even, you know, fit the bill. Oh man, it's such a big personal question. I'll happily talk to you about it like one-on-one. But my jam out here, I love Tennessee. I love the music scene out here. I love the people, and there is a voiceover industry here that I've found. And no, there's not a lot of animation. You know, doesn't mean it can't come here. I don't know how that would happen. But I'm happy to work regionally if possible. But I'm kind of like moving into. I put on variety shows for local artists. I'm doing one, if you're local, Mars Variety Show, November 13th at the building in East Nashville. I like creating platforms for other artists. I'm better at pushing other people than myself. So, doing that, shooting music videos, shooting live performances. You know, there's a great film scene out here. So just, you know, as an actor, do whatever you can to stay creative. And this is a very creative and collaborative town. Unlike my peers in Los Angeles.
There are a handful of animation actors that have moved out of LA. I'm thinking of Tom Kane, and you know the reason why an actor might, you know, pay for their flight to Los Angeles to record, you know, can they break even? on your expenses, but it's the residuals that you get later on. So that's where we really plan to make our income, is not the session fees, it's the
The
residuals.
royalties.
So you have to weigh out what's gonna be more beneficial. Also, you might just do one episode of something really big, really popular, and that can lead to other things. So it's not always how much money am I making on this, there's a bigger picture, it's the whole career. And because voiceover is so remote now, you know, maybe not animation remotely, but commercials, promos, definitely games, narration. There's audio, but there's